Hi guys, Great Plant Girl here. Well, it happened. We definitely got our first frost last night. Luckily it was a light one. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to show you how I covered and protected my plants as much as possible. I think it was a pretty light frost, so most of the things probably would have survived without a lot of extra protection, but you never know what you're going to get here. So I'm going to turn the camera around and just show you how I protected things and how it turned out. So these are my hanging baskets on the deck. So I just came out last night and I covered them up with towels and just used clothespins to hold them in place. So let's have a look. I got down, I haven't checked for sure the temps, but I know after the sun was just coming up for about an hour, it was around 1 degree here. Well, there's the impatiens and the little bedding begonias. There's snapdragons. Snapdragons are pretty hardy. They could take that frost we had last night, no problem. But everything looks like it's done well, but it's gotten warm out now. Let's see, it's about 7 degrees Celsius. So I need to get these towels off of here, or the plants will cook. The sun's shining right on them this time of day. So I'll finish getting these towels off and I'll show you what I did with some of my other plants. So you can see these guys weren't covered. Now, one thing that can help protect plants is, as you can see, they're still in the shade a little bit right now. Sun's just starting to hit them. So if it doesn't get too cold, just a degree around freezing there, a lot of things will be fine if the sun doesn't hit them before the temps come up above freezing. So that's one thing. If you know your plants are going to be in the shade, then if it's just going to get hovering around the freezing mark, you can probably get away with it depending on how hardy they are. But you can see here I have some tender plants here, and I've just piled them all together up against the house and in behind some seating. So they had help from having a little bit of heat radiate off the house. They had the seating to help provide some shade until just, I don't know, about half an hour ago, the sun wouldn't have been hitting anything. And when they're all clustered together there, it also provides just a little bit more heat off of all of them as well. So that's one way that you can help protect plants if they're mobile. Like these are all in pots here. I didn't have them covered up at all. They were just like this. So I have my regular frost blankets that I've had on for, I don't know, a week, maybe 2 weeks. I'm not even sure when I put them on now. They are soaking wet because the frost was heavy enough to get them wet. I put extra sheets over the frost blanket just to try and hold a little extra heat in. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but I just thought it sounded like it was supposed to get pretty cold, so I just wanted to give them as much protection as possible. So there you can really see how wet that sheet got. So over here on these tomatoes, I don't have a frost blanket, so I just wrapped them in sheets. You can see I kind of tied them around the post, and this guy stuck out a little bit and it's pretty curled up. Not too bad. It was just a light frost. Like I said, it was enough that you could see it on everything. But I also put this watering can, this bucket are full of water, just to help get some, they'll let off heat as the cold air comes in. They'll let off some heat. So that's something else I like to do. It's the same idea as the wall of waters, which I'll show you once I get everything uncovered here. And I also had just some mold landscape fabric that I threw over the pumpkins. It looks like everything came out pretty good. I just got an update and it said it got down to -1 Celsius here last night. And like I said, just, I don't know, about half hour to an hour after sunrise, it was already 1 degree. So I don't think it stayed at -1 for very long. I just thought I'd kind of show you. People have been asking what I do to help extend the season. So I know I've talked before about these wall of water. I forget, they have a few other names, but it's just a plastic sleeve kind of that goes around your plant, and it has a lot of different little sleeves. Each of these spaces is a sleeve that you can fill with water, and you can see the bottom here is full. And in the spring I fill it right up, and you can actually close them around the plants, and it'll give you a good, I don't know, probably 5 to 7 degrees Celsius protection. It gives you quite a bit of protection that way. When they're open, it's not quite as much, but it still keeps a little bit of an air mass that's a little warmer around the plant. So I just, lots of times I'll fold them down, especially on the peppers and that kind of like the warm weather, but they don't like it too hot. This, I think, kind of helps regulate it when it's rolled down like that. So I have 2 kinds. I have the green ones and I have the red ones. So I don't have enough for all my plants, you can see, but I have several plants that I put in them in the spring. I usually try to put a few plants out earlier that way, get a little head start on things. Another thing I'll do in the spring, especially when I'm hardening things off, is I have these wooden boxes that I built. Now they're not perfect. They don't offer a ton of protection, but they offer some protection and also protection from the wind as well. So it's just old windows over a box. I don't know if you can see, the boxes have a slight angle to the sides. They're just old wood. I've used bubble wrap just to kind of help fill in the edges a little bit before. And I usually actually put those up on my deck where the air mass is just slightly warmer than down on the ground to harden things off. Sometimes I'll set them out on the dirt here with the glass over them just to help warm the soil a little bit earlier. So that's something that I'll use. And then one of the reasons I wanted these raised beds was because I wanted to be able to do this system with the tubing or the piping over top here where it's just looped over. Kind of like make a little tunnel. So I've just attached them on the sides here. Now, I didn't know this, and I'm guessing I'm not the only one that doesn't know this, but I measured the outside diameter of the pipe to buy these, and I guess these are sold by the inside diameter of the pipe. I don't know, maybe that's obvious, but it wasn't to me. So those are the wrong size, and that's why. So if you are planning to do this, these type of brackets are sold by the inside diameter of the pipe. But I just put some old bamboo stakes in the ground and threaded the pipe over, and this just helps to keep it a little bit stable. I've only had them come out once, and that was some pretty strong winds, and it was just one pipe that popped out. So they've been here for several weeks now, and we get quite a bit of wind, and that's the only time one's popped out. So I think this will work. So I have these put on 2 beds. So for the fall, I've just been putting this frost blanket over. We've had some very cool nights already, and this is supposed to protect 3 to 4 degrees Celsius of air mass. Now I don't have it right down to the bottoms there and tucked in on the ends, but I just bought a long roll. I think it was like 50 feet by 4 feet, and I cut it and I sewed 2 pieces together just with a basic stitch with my sewing machine, and that gave me 8 feet across to go over the loops. And then I think I cut it to 14 feet to get down. This is an 8-foot long bed by 4 feet wide, so that seems to have done it for me. And then I just bought these big clips at the dollar store, and I just clamped the ends at the top in the middle there. I don't know if you can see, you can't really see the one at the other end. And then I clamped at each tube, there's a clamp holding them on both sides. And it seems to be helping to keep the plants, like, because we've had some very cool nights and cool days. It's a little bit abnormal yet for this time of year, but so I've just been leaving them on. I took this one off just so you could see the pipes and the tubes, how I have it set there. But I've just been leaving them on all day because it lets the air and the sun through, but helps trap some heat at night. See that big bumblebee in there? Bees are just coming out. It's just warmed up enough that they're starting to move around now. We'll be happy to be able to get to these zinnias. They've been covered up. But then, as you saw, I also use old sheets, towels, blankets to cover up the plants when we're expecting a heavy frost. And you have to, the only thing you have to be careful with those is you have to be careful that you don't leave them on once it heats up, because you'll cook your plants. And you don't want it to be so heavy that your plants are squished by it. There's one more thing I wanted to show you about these frost blankets. See if I can get to one. You can see with these blankets, I don't know if you can see those shadows. Those are stakes that I have my tomatoes staked on. I just cut the fingers off of some old gloves that I had that were getting worn out anyways, and put them over top the stake just to help soften it a little bit against the fabric. I've had a couple, because this fabric isn't completely tight, so when the wind blows, every once in a while these pop off. But for the most part, they've stayed on and worked pretty well. I have, I think, one hole in one spot, so not too bad. So that's what I do just to help protect things. I use, like I said, the water and the cloth. I use the glass in the spring. Another thing that I've done in the past is I've gotten my big terracotta pots. If I have a plant kind of off by itself that needs protection, I'll tip a big terracotta pot over top that plant and just set something over the drain hole so the heat doesn't escape out of there. And those will give you pretty good protection overnight as well. Again, that's one of those things that you want to pop off, or at least, at the very least, open up that drain hole so the air can move through and let some sun in. But that's how I protect my things from the cold weather here and try and extend my season. What do you do? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.